Atma Darshan, Chapter 8, Shuddha Bodham, Pure Consciousness. Now, this is a very short chapter, only 2 verses in this chapter. It is built upon the previous chapters. So, if your understanding of the previous chapters of what Atmananda was talking about, changeless Atma, if that is your own experiential recognition, then only this will flow. Yeah, one flows into the next, into the next, into the next. But if that is not experientially seen, just intellectualized, then this will become an obstacle. Then this will not be so clear. Yeah. So before we move ahead, ask yourself the question, do I see the changeless Atma that was mentioned in the previous chapter? Second question, do I recognize the changeless Atma when he describes it as the one without a second, that which abides in filling all? Do I really recognize it? Yes? Recognizing is different, intellectually understanding is different. And then finally, ask yourself the question, have I moved from the identification, the tadatma with the body-mind person, to that atma which is infilling all? These are the 3 questions that if you answered yes to in the positive, that I recognize, and you have really experientially seen it, then you will be able to understand that everything is me, not mine. Everything is me. All is me. Only I am. The world is me. The world is not mine. The world is me. Whether it's a beautiful world or an ugly world, it is me. Thought is me. Thought is not mine. Thought is me. Intelligent thought or silly thought. It is me. It is not mine. Yeah, so now we are progressing away from the two-ness. Yeah, in our seeing, the two-ness is dropping, the duality is dropping, and we're moving towards simply oneness, the sameness. Ask yourself, do I recognize this non-duality? Feeling is me. Feeling is not mine. Feeling is me. If it were mine, there would be an I and it. There would be a two. But there is no two. There is no duality. So feeling is not mine. Feeling is me only. Can I see this? Pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling, doesn't matter. Can I see that feeling is me? Yeah? In Atmanirvriti, I had described that there is this beautiful painting and it's just abstract. There are no proper shapes and sizes. It's just an abstract painting of different colors. Somebody goes in, he has a feeling, I am the one who is seeing the painting. He has already divided it into 2. Then he starts giving labels to names and forms on that painting. There are no names and forms. The names and forms are created by the I that wants to create a game. Like a little child creates fake tea, fake food, fake pizza, and tells the doll, okay, now you have to finish the food before you leave for school. There is no school. There is no food. There is no doll really eating it. It is all a creation. Like that only. The one who has divided this into I, the seer of the painting, and the painting. I and the world. The one who has divided it has the vasana to experience the division and therefore creates the two. There is no two. There is no mine. There is only me. There are no shapes and sizes, no forms in that painting. It's abstract. But labels are given to those abstract forms and figures. And then those labels are believed in. Okay, this is it. And therefore, duality or diversity is created. In reality, it does not exist. Now, have you come to this scene in your daily routine? That is the main question for you. Do I recognize this in my daily routine with everything? Do I see all is me? In fact, there is no all. It is just used for the purpose of communication. There is only me. Let's take a small example. There's perception of family dinner. Then there is perception of the smell of some delicious food that has been cooked. Then there is perception of the dish being brought to the table. Then there is perception of conversation about the food, which is sound. Then there is perception of hand serving the delicious, yummy dish into the plate. Then there is perception of taste. Then there is perception of sound, again, about conversation of the food. There is perception of thought. I am such a good cook, or he is such a good cook, or she is such a good cook. There is again the perception of taste. Again, there is the perception of sound. Suddenly the sound is not pleasant anymore. Perception of argument. Then there is the perception of disinterest in the same dish that was so pleasant few minutes ago. Pleasant thought converted to unpleasant thought. Pleasant feeling converted to unpleasant feeling. There is simply perception, thought, feeling, suddenly uncomfortable sensation in the body. Everything is simply waves. There is no I, there is no world. There is no two people arguing. There is no other people spoiling the family dinner. There is no world out there. It is all me. Are you able to see this in your daily routine? That is the question that Atmananda is asking you in this chapter. Clear? It is only me. Now I just described a simple family dinner. Please extend it to your work, to your walks and gym and exercise and swimming pool and discussions with the neighbor or whatever. Everything that you do. In your daily routine, moment to moment, is this recognition there that there is only one wave after the other, one arising after the other? There is no world there. There is no I there. All that is created, the story is created in retrospect. For example, right now, there is no Advaita class. There are no people here, there is no teacher. There is simply waves arising and falling. Wave of sound, wave of recognition, wave of thought, wave of some comfortable sensation at the recognition, wave of some uncomfortable sensation at the recognition that, oh, I do not see it. Yeah. Again, these are simply waves. There is only one wave after another wave after another wave after another wave. There is no separate I experiencing Advaita wisdom. There is no world of people sitting and experiencing Advaita wisdom. There is no teacher out there that is teaching Advaita wisdom. All this is created in retrospect, and the retrospect happens in the next moment. The moment the person divides himself into I, the one, the seer of the painting, he sees an abstract form and immediately labels it, sees an abstract form, immediately labels it. So the labeling is happening immediately after seeing. Are you seeing this? Yeah. Exactly the same thing is happening right now. There is just one wave, another wave, another wave, and then there is the putting together of these three waves and a story created. So, moment to moment, dropping of the story and recognizing the truth is only the wave. The story is lies. The story is not the truth. The truth is only the arising, only the arising, only the arising. And it is me only. It is Atma. There is no all. The word all was used in the previous chapter to bring you here. All is me. I am that Atma that is infilling all. There is no I. There is no all. Are you recognizing where this is going? If this is your recognition, not just intellectual understanding, if this is your recognition, you will understand the first verse of chapter 8. Yeah. The first verse is, Atma is that one changeless rasa. Look at the word that has been used. That arising, that wave. Yeah? He's calling it rasa, and it has not been translated into any English word. You have to attempt to understand ras. What is ras? Yeah? Only if you experientially see the changeless Atma, then you understand ras. Yeah? The Sanskrit or the Malayalam word ras can be translated into many things like juice or flavor. It can be translated into a spectrum of frequencies. It can be translated into many different ways, but don't translate because none of them will do the justice. Attempt to see what rasa really means here. Rasa in its core means the sameness in the differentness. Yeah, it's not right English, but attempt to understand the sameness, the sameness in all the differences. That is rasa. And that sameness is me. That oneness is me. That changeless flavor is me. How does rasa get revealed on the path? Where you start discarding the story that is created later on by the labels, and you just keep looking at the truth, which is the arising. And there is just that arising. And there is nothing else but that arising. There is no seer of the arising. When the arising is, the seer is not. When the seer is, the seen is not. Recognizing this oneness, this sameness is called rasa. So now what do I mean by sameness? Sight is the same as sound. They are not two. Sound is the same as touch. They are not two. Touch is the same as taste. Taste is the same as smell. Smell is the same as feeling. Feeling is the same as sensation. Sensation is the same as thought. These are not separate arisings. These are separate labels given to the same rasa. Separate labels given to the same rasa. The changeless one rasa, into which all these merge and dissolve, and from which they emerge also. Again, they merge and dissolve. So it's not that there are multiple perceptions at a time. No, there cannot be. When there is the perception of sight, there is no sound. When there is sound, there is no touch. When there is touch, there is no taste. These are all labels created to communicate, but it is just one arising. Can you be with that? Understanding that intellectually in Atmanirvriti is different from being with that moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. When you are being with that, in fact, you are that. There is no you and no that remaining. That is Atma Darshan. Darshan, the true vision of Atma, the self. Atma Darshan. Yes. So, myself, the Atma, I am that changeless rasa into which every arising emerges from and merges back into. Later on, I label this was a thought, this is a feeling, this is a perception of sound, this is argument at the dinner table, this is the wonderful cleanliness of the table, this is what a perception of somebody's hand, this is the perception of the sound of cutlery hitting the plate. Yeah. All this labeling is done in retrospect, and the retrospect happens immediately after. Yeah. Moment to moment, ignoring that story as rubbish, a story of the mind, not paying any heed to it, and simply being with the arising. These also are words to communicate what Atmananda is saying here. There is no me and there is no separate arising. There is only an arising. And that rasa, recognizing it as one and the same. That is the meaning of being with the changeless one rasa into which everything merges. Clear? The first verse is clear. Interestingly, today, science is also coming there. Technology has moved towards this recognition that sight, sound, smell, taste, touch are not separate. They are all one. So those who are creative people, after the session, you can Google about Photoshop. So that software called Photoshop in which we create images, there is a new feature added that when you start painting in Photoshop, you can transmogrify it into sound. So you can paint sounds in Photoshop now. Yeah? Even technology is moving towards that direction. So it's become very clear that sight and sound are not two, they are one. Yeah? It's one flow. So rasa can be translated as flow. It's one flow. One flow. Yeah. Beam of light transmogrifies into sound. They seem to be separate, but they seem separate only because of their individualized frequencies. But those two frequencies are on the same broad spectrum. It is one single spectrum. That one single broad spectrum in which there are separate frequencies of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, thought, feeling, sensation. That broad spectrum is that one rasa. Yeah? So what Atmananda said such a long time ago, what our scriptures said such a long time ago, is now, materializing in front of us in technology, in science. Yeah? So check it out. Check out Photoshop, the new feature added for soundscapes. So before we move to the next verse, self-exploration question for myself. Do I recognize the rasa moment to moment? And am I able to discard the story created moment to moment? Remember, the story is created because of the past habit of the memory to put things together and weave a story out of it. Yeah. Don't expect that is suddenly going to vanish in chapter 8, boof, like this. No. You will notice the story come up, and are you able to discard the story again and again? Again, you'll notice the story come up. Are you able to discard the story again and again and just be with the rasa? That broad spectrum into which a different frequency arises and disappears. Again, a different frequency arises and disappears. Again, a different frequency arises and disappears. Be with that different frequency, recognizing it as Atma. Not recognizing it as sight or sound or smell or taste or touch or thought or feeling. Yeah, the moment you put a label, anger, the moment you put a label, hatred, this is already story. The moment you put a label, argument between family members, you've already put a label. No. Discarding labels, simply seeing the frequency arise and disappear. Again, seeing the next frequency arise and disappear. Simply seeing the frequency arise and disappear, recognizing it as rasa. That changeless one rasa. That is the Atma. Clear? It's a big jump from the first 7 chapters to the 8th one. It's like, Atma Darshan, Atmananda climbs a mountain like this with a rope and a harness and pull yourself up. There are no easy steps or a nice easy height like Nisargadatta Maharaj. It doesn't work like that. Atmananda is take a harness and start pulling your weight up. To be able to pull your weight up, if you're too healthy, it's going to be harder. You see? Yeah, so come on, start shedding that weight. And how do you shed that extra weight? Yeah, gymming and exercise is not going to help you. Discarding stories is going to help you here. Discard all the stories of the memory and simply be with the truth. Yeah, you lose some weight, extra weight. The leaner you become, the easier it is for you to pull yourself up on that harness, yeah, and climb up. So, very important homework for myself. Can I recognize that one changeless rasa as myself, the Atma? And I have to see this moment to moment to moment today. I have Sunday, less work, less interaction, drop all commitments for the day, and simply be with this. Can I recognize the rasa? Don't try to translate into English or your native language or Hindi or whatever. No. Rasa. See it as rasa. One changeless rasa. If he wanted us to translate it, he would have translated it. See it as it is. The broad spectrum in which different frequencies arise. Yeah. First, I was labeling these frequencies separately and creating a story. Can I drop the story and simply be with the arising, with the frequency, and see it as me only? Me. No labeling. The moment I label what has happened, you've gone into story. You've jumped into story. So no labeling. Labeling happens because of the habit of the memory. Discard it. That's all. You don't have to fight with it. You don't have to fight with yourself. Just ignore it. Your dog is barking on the road. You don't start fighting with the dog. You just ignore the barking of the dog and you keep moving, right? Like that. Ignoring the stories. Ignoring the stories. Being with that one rasa. Is this very clear? Another way to see this, when you're eating some food, there are so many different flavors. There's sweet, sour, pungent, savory, tangy, spicy. All these flavors, finally they fade away. So if you're eating something sweet, it's sweet only for this much. So see that this much arise like a frequency and fade away. Don't label, this is sweet, this is yummy, I like it, or I dislike it. Or this taste is because of this, or this taste is because I forgot to add this. No story, just the arising. Yeah. What did it fade into? Oh, the bland taste in that tongue. Oh, that blandness is the rasa. Everything arises from that rasa, tastes sweet for a moment, and then it disappears. Then there is another arising, maybe spicy for a moment, disappears again. The sweet, spicy, only labels. Can I remove the label and see that it is all same? Blandness is equal to savory, is equal to spicy, is equal to sweet, is equal to sour, is equal to tangy, is equal to whatever. Oh, it's all the same. That sameness is the one rasa. Clear? Yeah, I just gave you example of taste. So like that, you will have example of sights. You will see different sights right now in your room. Look around. Look around in your room. You see the door, you see the wall, you see your cupboard, you see the table, the computer. These are simply arisings. Simply arisings. And you put labels on each arising. If you remove the label, what is? Nothing. The shape and the color disappears the moment you remove label. Remember, label has been put on shape and color. Do you see this? The moment you remove the label, shape and color disappears. When you see without shape and color, what is it? The one rasa. Do you recognize what I'm saying? So work on each, work separately on sight and their shapes and colors, shapes and forms, and see how the mind labels. Attempt to discard it, attempt to see it without the idea of shape or color in the mind. Just seeing, just seeing. Yeah? That screen on which the labels were coming up of the shape and the color. Then the story is formed about the shapes and colors interacting with each other or superimposing on each other, or however they look on each other. That description, that story, after being ripped off, the oneness that remains, that single screen in the background, that is the one rasa. That is the one rasa. Yeah? So I give you example of taste and sight, do it with sound. Right now there is only one sound, one sound arising, falling, knowledge sound arising, falling, without giving importance to the labeling of what Ekta is saying. Did I understand what Ekta is saying? Do I see it this way? Oh, I don't see it this way. All this is labeling. This is inner conversation. This inner conversation is the labeling. Remember, the chit chat that I do with my own self is the labeling. Rip it off. Rip it off. And there is just the arising of the sound of some wisdom. Falls away. Again it arises, it falls away. It arises, it falls away. There is no hearer or listener of the wisdom. There is simply the wisdom. And now you remove the label of the wisdom also. There is. There is. There is. Do you see this? That is the way you work with sound. Clear? Similarly, you work with smell and you work with touch. Touch, do not work with another person, work with just touching some different soft material, hard material, and then just do it with objects first. And then take it into your interaction with people. Touch and recognizing there is no I touching you or you touching I. There is no toucher, there is no touched. All these are stories. Can I rip the stories and just, there is, there is, there is. That is one rasa. One rasa. Finally, when you finish the 5 perceptions, then you work with thought and feeling because they are harder. Now, feeling comes up, some very strong feeling you have about something. Now, working on that strong feeling, whether it is hatred or anger or disappointment or sadness or whatever, grief, that one thing you work on, I'm going to work on this for the next, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Just sit with that. And can I rip off all the labels? Oh, I have this feeling because of him or her. She did this happened, this should have not happened. I rip off, rip off, rip off, rip off, rip off. And simply see the feeling arise like a wave and disappear. Arise, disappear. And without labeling, come to the point where it just is. Not it is this or it is that. No. Rip off if there is this and that. Simply is. Again, simply is. Till you come to the recognition there is no two, there is no duality. There is no duality. If there were two, then there would have been a question of taking an action about this nasty feeling or unpleasant thought, whatever came up. No, but there is no two. There is no question of taking an action because there is no actor and no object to be acted upon. It is me only. There is nothing that can be done about it. Because it is me. Yeah, till now, the way you were seeing knowledge is, oh, it's just happening. It is not in my control. I cannot do anything about this. I cannot do that. Yeah, but now see that it is all me only. That is why there is nothing that can be done about it. Yeah, it's changing the perspective completely. Till now we had understood, oh, it is my projection. I projected from my desire before, and therefore this is playing in front of me right now. It is out of my control because the movie has already been shot, edited, whatever, compressed, and it's playing everywhere. Now I cannot really change what is there in the story. So I am not in control. So you had that kind of an understanding till now. Now, Atmananda is helping you shift it and see it is me only. That is why there is nothing that can be done about it. There is no two. If there were two, a doer that could do something about it, then there would be a question of me being in control or not being in control. But there is no two. There is no doer. There is no doing. There is no question of an action to be carried out by this actor and that object on which the actor needs to act upon. There is no two. It is me. As it is me only, there is nothing that can be done about it. Yeah. So you see how we are moving in the knowledge by ripping off one by one the previous steps, ripping them off. Even now, the previous step that I had learned about projecting my own desire and then perceiving my own projection and not being in control of what I am perceiving, that also is being ripped off now. Yeah, now one step higher. It is me only. There's nothing that can be done about it. There is no conflict then. When it is me, not mine, when it is me, there is no two, so there is no conflict, no question of conflict. When there is no question of conflict, the idea of pleasant or unpleasant falls flat on its face. The idea of good and bad falls flat on its face. Opposites fall off. There is no right, there is no wrong. It is me only. There is nothing that can be done about it. One rasa. This is the meaning of one rasa. It's very deep. Somebody who's listening very superficially feels, oh, I've heard this before. No, you're listening superficially. Please repeat this video. Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, thought, feeling, sensation. They are not. Only I am. That one rasa is. There is no mine. It is me only. There is nothing that can be done about it because it is me only. To do something, there needs to be a two. When there is a two, then there is a conflict. But there is no two. Yeah? There is no two. It is me only. And that is the meaning of rasa. That is the Atma, me only. Yeah? So today, whatever feeling arises, whether you're lonely or you're feeling together with the family, whether there is a feeling of pleasantness, feeling of unpleasantness, or some argument playing in the mind, some broken record, whatever happens today, or the sight of a beautiful red mountain outside your window. Whatever is created, the pleasantness or the unpleasantness, discard the story. Immediately discard the story and simply be with that phenomena. That phenomena, that rasa, recognizing it is me. It is me. It is me. If this becomes clear in your seeing, then you will understand verse 8.2. To see what this rasa. So first you have to be able to see the rasa. After ripping out shapes and all the colors and then the labels or names given to the shape and color. When you just see the oneness and you see the oneness arises in ras, in a wave, in a rhythm, in a frequency, and falls and arises and falls. And when you see that, you enter it and you establish it as the I. This is me. That removes all delusions and brings in lasting peace. So, what delusion does it remove? Of the doer and the doing, the experiencer and the experience, the duality of the doer and that which needs to be done, the duality of the experiencer and that which is being experienced. This duality, this is a delusion, an illusion, an idea. It is not real. This gets ripped off. This is the meaning of Vyamoham. The moha, the delusion, is removed. All the moha, all the delusions are removed. Stories are all moha, all delusions. They get completely removed. And then you get established in that Nitya Nirvriti, the lasting peace. It's more like the lasting freedom. You are not free because of your stories. You hold on to the stories for dear life. Yeah? The stories of I and the world. Yeah? This keeps it nice and spicy, interesting. But the truth is very boring. Truth is not spicy. Truth is not masala. It's not interesting. Truth is very boring. Yeah? That is what is peace. It's boring. It's a straight line, lasting peace. That is what will be attained when you enter the rasa and establish that rasa as the I. Yeah? I means again the changeless Atma, not the I thought that wants to be something. So, again, word of caution, recognize if that I thought is saying, oh, see, I am this. Yeah, so you have to go deeper into the meaning of what is seeing. What is seeing? I covered it in the retreat this month. Those who attended the retreat already have a heads up in this practice. Go deeper into your practice. Yeah, and again, brush over it again. What is the meaning of seeing? Is it concentration? Or is it choiceless witnessing, choiceless knowing? Or is it attention? What is seeing? So let's understand first the first word, concentration. All energy gets directed forcefully in one direction. And there is a lot of effort put. That is concentration. I want to read something. I want to read it and understand it. So I put my full energy in that one direction forcefully. That complete effort is in one direction. That is called concentration. Do you get it? Seeing is not concentration. That's not what we are talking about. Yeah. Why? Because concentration has a division created. There is one direction created. Division is created. Do you see this? Between that and the others. No. So concentration is not seeing. Seeing, Seeing. Concentration is not seeing because it creates division. This is clear? Second, is it choiceless witnessing or choiceless knowing? Like look around in your room. You don't want to know that that cupboard is there, but you know that's the choiceless knowing. Another example, on the screen you see Ekta. You don't want to know this is the red color, but choicelessly you know this is red color. Do you see what I mean by choiceless knowing? You don't want to know it, but there's a choiceless knowing, choiceless witnessing of something. Observing without an observer. That is seeing. Yeah. So it is not choiceless witnessing, it is not concentration. Is it attention? What is the meaning of attention? Not concentration. We've removed concentration in the first go. So what kind of attention is it? There is no center here. You're attending to the totality. Yes? But there is no attender. There is no observer. Remember. Yeah? Observation without an observer. Attending to the totality without an attender. There is no center here. That is seeing. There is no me to limit the attention. For example, when in choiceless witnessing you were seeing the red color without wanting to see the red color, there was a me that is seeing the red color. There is a limitation, a divide created in choiceless witnessing. But in simply attending without an attender, attending to the full energy, to the totality without a me, then there is attention on the complete space. There is no localization like concentration. That is the meaning of seeing. That is the meaning of seeing the nature of consciousness with its content. Yeah, but not labeling any content. The moment there is a labeler, an I has come up which is concentrating on something or is choicelessly witnessing something and putting a label of red color. Yeah. When you're simply attending to the totality with no center, no attender, no observer, when the full energy, the full space, along with its content, is seen, is recognized, and yet at the same time, remember, the ripping away of the labeling is happening, emptying out the contents, because contents are just your labels created by the mind. You rip them off, you empty out the contents, you leave behind just the totality, simply the totality, and just being with that totality. That total silence, that is true meditation. The silence of the emptiness, being with that, that is meditation. That is actual seeing of the reality. That is insight. Yeah, that is insight. So that is the word given by Buddha, vipassana. Special seeing. Seeing the totality, seeing reality as it is. That brings that insight, the wisdom. Only the silence of emptiness is not an induced silence. It is not a practice silence. Oh, I'm going to practice silence. Now I'm going to be quiet. No. The silence of emptiness cannot be a practiced silence. It comes from simply seeing the totality without an observer, without a seer, without an attender, with no center. Yeah? So there cannot be an induced silence. It's not a practiced silence. It is the silence of emptiness. So to see it, enter it, and establish it as the I, that removes all delusions and just brings in that boring straight line that you're craving for and yet not really interested in all the time. That is called peace. Once you see this Atma, then you recognize all is that same Atma. It is the same rasa. Same rasa. Then all delusions of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, stories, all thought, feelings, emotions, sensations, actor, experiencer, doer, all stories get ripped away. All delusions get removed. Then you don't see individual family members as family members anymore. You don't see friends as friends anymore. You don't see colleagues as colleagues anymore. You don't see neighbors as neighbors anymore. You don't see objects as objects anymore. Above all, you don't see money as money anymore. You don't see the world as the world anymore. It brings a relief. There's a relief from unburdening yourself from all these labels. It's a big relief. Yeah? That is the meaning of nirvritti. That relief that comes from unburdening yourself from the labels of the world. When you recognize this is all Atma, all me. That brings lasting peace. Lasting peace. That completes chapter 8.